Yeah, it's more the vibe we're going for tonight. Hello, everyone. I've turned off my PVM overlay for once. I normally have it always on, but I don't know. I just always have it on. I don't know. Maybe I don't need to have it on all the time. Not sure what your thoughts are, but thinking about turning it off for tonight just to change things up. You know, I gotta turn my fucking light on. Oh, yeah, that's better. Does not need to be that bright. Or maybe it does. It shouldn't be that color. There we go. You should counsel Bryan this. If Bryan is available, I would love to talk to him. It's the only time that I'll be like, yeah, Bryan, come on in. You know, man, seriously, if you want to come in and talk about this thing you've created, yeah, we're just gonna leave the thing off. It doesn't really fit the vibe of Sektur City. Gahul's the new King of Pole? I don't think so. There's only one King of Pole, and his name is Bryan Dunn. Has Bryan given you an outline of his work on Sektur City, Gahul? Not yet. I have not gotten the outline yet. Better not spear my character. No, I'm not gonna. I actually think yours is one of the better characters. So, here's what I have done. I have now watched. We might need to get some different music for this, because my normal music isn't really fitting for this World of Darkness-esque. Let me look up a video game soundtrack or something. Give me a second. But I've watched Bryan's breakdown that he did in a fucking Magic the Gathering stream. This is what gets me. I'm gonna say something. We're gonna defend Bri here for once. We're gonna defend Bryan a little bit. Everyone's dogging on him for the Sektur City thing. Oh, we're dropping the nukes on him. We're gonna reveal the dirty secrets. He streamed the entire thing himself an entire calendar year ago. It was on fucking April 3rd, 2025. Over a year ago. It's almost a year and a half ago now. He streamed detailing almost everything. The only thing that wasn't in there, as far as I can see, was Ralph's mom being one of the monsters. So everything else has been, like, you could find it if you cared at any point. So all this stuff that's come out, like, oh, Bryan, it's so embarrassing. It's like, we knew. But the thing is, no one knew, because criticism of Bryan, it was in the middle of a fucking Magic the Gathering stream he did, which no one gives a shit about. Yeah, we'll do the Deadly Premonition OST again. That's always a classic. That kind of fits for what we're doing tonight, too. We'll go back to the beginning on this. We'll start from the beginning. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is all recycled content parodied by people older than 30. Go friend. Hello, everyone. Let's read off the chat quick since we are here. Let me read off. We've got Angel O, Dasha Fan 911, Elf Walnut, Interdimensional Lizard, Quadratic, Residue, Shreks Now, WOTS14, which I think is Warriors of the Shire. I think I saw Partridge Pete and Victorian Greyjoy earlier. I'm sure we'll see many more as the night goes on. I was going to play more Donkey Kong, but then I injured my thumb. I bit my nail too short because I have a nail biter. Just because I have issues with biting my nails. But, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Bit my nail, and no more. I'm not going to be gaming for a bit, but I did, and then I was going to do, I saw the back rooms. But now we're finally going to get to this, and this is the new drama, and frankly, this is too good. I made a YouTube video about this, and I've not gotten anything directly from Bryan. And I will say this, I'm extending the Olive Branch. I'm not going to A-log Bryan. This is actually going to be just talking about, we're not going to be sitting here making fun of Bryan Dunn this whole stream. We are going to be talking about the potential cool shit you could get out of his kind of stupid, fucking funny idea. And I intend, if at all possible, to, within a calendar year, develop and release a expansion book for tabletop RPG called Sektur City, with a lot of the theming taking from Bryan's original thing. Because if you listen to what Bryan talks about in his thing, which I'm not sure, maybe we can, does anyone in the chat want to watch it? I don't know if anyone wants to watch Bryan talk about his thing. They made a movie about Dead Man's ex-wife. It's called The Black Rooms. Frankly, there isn't a screen wide enough. There isn't a IMAX 70mm screen that's large enough to contain how massive Dead Man's ex-wife is. She may be the biggest, fattest woman to ever exist. So, frankly, I don't know if it's worth seeing. We should watch it. No, not really. I'm more interested in talking about the content than Bryan, because what Bryan just does is he shows the fucking AI images he created and talked about all the stories he did, which I guess we could just watch over. But I more want to talk about what you could do with this idea, which is far more exciting to me, because my problem with, it's not a problem, it's just the way Bryan made this. It was just a campaign it was just a Vampire the Masquerade campaign he was running that was Sektur flavored, right? So it was just Sektur characters replacing leaders as like the leaders of established factions in Vampire the Masquerade. The AI NPC characters suck. If we do anything, we're not, I mean, we might use AI art. I imagine I'll probably using some AI shit, but I'm a decent graphic designer. I'm not a great artist. I'm not great at like drawing. I'm not talented at that, but you could probably do a certain style. Someone mentioned doing a Sin City style, and it would probably be all in black and white. I would say that. I think black and white, or at least, if maybe not black and white, maybe like black, whites, and grays, maybe some blues, but like a low color palette production, both for ease of creation, and maybe if we eventually want to print this, which I don't think is going to happen, but we have to change some names. Did Bryan sign off? No, Bryan has not signed off on me and given this to me, so this is all just speculation, and I'm hoping he watches this, and I hope he shows up and we can talk this through, because this is legitimately, I'm not A-logging Bryan. I want this to be a real thing, because it seems like a lot of fun. But after watching Bryan stream and how he described it, I don't want to do it the way he did it. And I'm not fully married to Vampire the Masquerade either. I'd be up for doing Call of Cthulhu, and I'll explain why, because I had a cool idea of what you could do with some of the Call of Cthulhu rule sets. But I think that what Bryan created was a really fun campaign for a group of people, but it wouldn't make a great campaign It wouldn't make a good expansion book for a basic game set. Are you playing this crap on Discord when you're done working on it? I don't know. Maybe, if people want to watch it, yes. But it's more, I'm hoping to create a strong enough campaign supplement book that I wouldn't even have to do a session. Someone else, if they wanted to, could very easily start their own campaign session up just by reading the book, and you'd have enough there to base your own stuff around it. This will call out Bryan to see it's uncontrollable, no matter how well meaning you are. We don't know that. You're stealing this man's intellectual property blatantly like the Chinese. SOA posted a good character sheet. I don't know where he posted it. If you tell me where he posted it, I will. If it was in one of my chats, I haven't had a chance to read through all my comments from when I've been this. Right down the rock, back alley in Sektur City, and you could find anything. Well, and here's the thing. I think basing it in Tennessee, I just can't. I don't know. I get the idea why making it an American city makes sense, but I almost want to set it like in a fictionalized, non-existent country, because I have a couple of cool ideas of what we could do. I don't play tabletop games, would it be like D&D or something? Yes. Although, you could do like a Mordheim-style skirmish game set in there as well. I mean, the setting's very generic. Meridia side quest. You owe Bryan Dunn money. Listen, I don't have that much money to pay Bryan Dunn for the rights to this. But to be fair, he took a lot of the people who's, the ideas are not really anyone's to own. The sector, the idea of the sector is not anyone's to own. I'm the Mordheim guy. Yeah, cool tactic. I mean, But there's a couple of things that I have to correct. We'd have to make big changes to a lot of the characters that he created. I think the main ones, I think a lot of them are fine. I don't even have a problem with like how he's portrayed me. I don't particularly like that the Council of Evil as a faction was working with. I mean, I will go into all the problems I have with. I'm not sure. We're gonna look at let's do the pros and the cons of what Bryan's already created first, and then we'll go into what ideas I had to like expand it and do something a little bit different. So the biggest pro, I would say, is that the general name and the idea is great. Unironically, fun idea. Take a bunch of internet spurgs and turn it into a real setting you can interact with, you can do shit with, you integrate all sorts of history and characters that people already know. This is a fun idea. This is not a bad idea. In fact, I think this would be a really fun, cool thing to do. Other pros, I like the idea of doing it of the vampires. I do not hate making all the characters vampires. I think that the vampire mythos fits very well with the Sektur. I think it was probably a really good choice to run the campaign with Sektur with a Sektur style. Seems better as a card game than an RPG, TBH. Just trading cards, not CGG or playing cards. Again, I mean, we don't have the resources to develop that, but we do have the resources to. It's easy to develop a TTRPG book, right? That's what I want to do. Would you invite Gator Cassidy to join the game, or is there too much bad blood? Listen, the idea would be, I mean, I would have anyone involved in the game anyone who wants to help contribute to the project. Obviously, I take input, and because it's just me, and this is also one of the criticisms. It was just Bryan doing it, so it's very Bryan slanted, and also it catches a lot of Bryan's blind spots about the Sektur, which I think is the strongest thing which I think is the main detriment that I have, is that you have the Council of Evil consisting of, in his world, me, Daimo, Shaggy, Axel, which is all members who were part of the Council of Evil, but then also Grossly Offensive and Matt Dog were part of the Council of Evil. Which, first of all, Matt Dog was never, ever part of the Council of Evil, ever. And neither was Grossly Offensive. In fact, Grossly Offensive and DJ Axel were working together in this campaign, which is completely the opposite of how it is in real life. They are bitter enemies who hate each other. And having them work together makes no fucking sense. Grossly Offensive should have been, like... It's like having PPP and Ralph in a fucking team together. It just does not compute. And then they had us all, like, we were like minor level people who got killed off in the first week because we were, like, stealing babies or some shit. It got a little bit too... Part of the appeal of Vampire the Masquerade is that there's a lot of stuff in the shadows, and what we were doing was, like, too obvious. And we were kidnapping, like, hundreds of children to abuse them and then, like, turn them into, like, a burger patties to, like, corrupt people's fast food. It was all too expansive and too unrealistic for what Vampire the Masquerade should be. It's made in the image of his mental psychosis. What do you expect? Persip can have no input because he'll turn everyone to a gay child Marvel characters. Listen, this is funny. So Perspic's in the stream talking about it, and one of the things he's complaining about is, oh god, I got a phone call.
Call from
the wrist.
To accept, press 1.
Wrist, hi, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm on stream.
You're on the stream, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just keeping it quiet. I'll bring up the chat in a second, chat. I want to keep up
Wrist,
with you guys.
Would you mind calling back a little bit later? I should probably turn off my call-ins. I'm trying to outline some stuff right now, if that makes sense. Maybe you could call in later. We can have
how long later? I'm okay with that.
Give me
how long later?
Give me like a half hour. I'll pull up the call-in number again. Just watch the stream and I'll let know when you're good to call in, okay?
Okay. So about 30 minutes from now. All right, I got you.
Yeah, that should be fine, yeah. I just got I'm just on a roll with something.
Brother,
yes.
Juice. Love the chat. Juice, buddy.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. Yeah. Sorry, I will outline some of that pun on purpose. Risk, what a twist. Yeah, I listen, I will talk to Risk because I want his input on this as well, but we gotta We're not done with the talking about the Sector City. Perspic was on the stream with Bryan, and his main complaint with all the AI images that none of the people were fat enough. He wanted all the guys to be a lot fatter because he's a feeder. He's got a feeder fetish, and he loves fat men because he's a gay guy obsessed with fat men, which is why he was so upset that none of the characters were fat enough. But we do love Riss. But we'll come back to him. So, but another thing that I noticed is that all of the characters and factions were being assigned and kind of like shoehorned into existing factions within Vampire the Masquerade. Like there was, I think Lady Rackets was the leader of like the Egypt worshipping people, which I don't know my Vampire the Masquerade terminology, so forgive me for that. And like Ralph's the leader of the Anarchs, which does make sense. I mean, some of it makes sense. And making them the certain vampires from the already existing game is fine, but it's almost like he took too much from like the factions already existing and didn't like give himself the creative freedom to just write new factions. I would just, frankly, if I'm writing this campaign book, we will use obviously the monsters and the data sheets and like the races from Vampire the Masquerade if that's what the game we're going to go with, but I do not use the existing factions. For a number of reasons. I think it just, if this isn't a campaign but a campaign expansion book, it's kind of, you want to introduce new things. So you'd want to introduce new factions that have different lore. His complaint about every character was that they were not fat enough. Yes, that's correct. We need Sector City with blackjack and hookers. Well, yes, that is the plan. That is the idea. Yeah. So again, this is not even a criticism of Bryan's thing, but just if you want to turn this from, Bryan's thing worked fine for his campaign he was running, but it wouldn't work great as a campaign book, which are two very different things. Vampire the Masquerade has 12,000 expansion. I'd keep it to core clans. Yeah, he had used a bunch of expansion clans. He had a ton. Like, he had, I think he was using, like, the werewolf. I mean, some things you have to include, like, werewolves and mummies and stuff, like the basic monster expansions, but he had used, like, the Anarch expansion. He used a ton of the expansion material already written, whereas you would honestly want to start with a clean slate and add to, like, the base game. Why not using D20 Modern? This is a great question. I'm not sure we want to stick with Vampire. That's what people voted for in the community polls, that we stick with Vampire the Masquerade. I'm personally leaning towards Call of Cthulhu, honestly, and I'll explain why I think Call of Cthulhu would make a better base for this kind of game, because you could do like a more modernist Call of Cthulhu setting. D20 Modern would make much more sense. Yeah, or we could even do like GURPS or like some kind of like generic D20 or generic Pathfinder. Again, that's the core, one of the core things you have to work out. But the people seem to vote, and they wanted it to stay as Vampire the Masquerade, which I like the idea of everyone being vampires. But here's another problem I have, is I don't think he went hard in enough with certain people. I think he focused too much in the campaign on, like, smaller players in the sector and not enough time on the larger, major factions of the sector, which really deserve more attention. Like, no offense to Warhammer, but the Forge gang should not necessarily be a main faction, while Mr. Medicare gets relegated to being a mummy who doesn't get talked about much. You know, like, I just don't think that that's how the sector is actually structured. One thing I will say, I'm not sure if Warhammer was a player. I'm pretty sure Ghost of Nicola was a player, because Warhammer and Ghost of Nicola were the only two people to have, like, fantasy armor. And they looked like fantasy, like, D&D characters in their character portraits. So I'm pretty sure that they were players. Or, for some reason, Bryan really wanted them to... I get Warhammer a little bit, but, like, Ghost of Nicola should not have, like, fantasy... There should be, like, no fantasy D&D armor in the setting. But they had, like, fantasy and, like, cool big swords. It was weird. So I think that those characters just need to be scrapped and started from the beginning, because they're just not what they should be. Outside of America, there was no proper Gamergate faction. I mean, Matt Jarbo was in there, you know, but you need to include. This is like the fun plug. It's the butt plug part. Pedicure being a mummy is kind of funny. It's funny, but I have a better idea. Mr. Medicure should be the original vampire that, like, all the other, he's like the head, you know, he's like the main, like, source of all the, like, he's like turned all these other people into vampires. He's like the original, like, the main, like, fucking elder vampire of the sector, who is now trapped in his, like, eternal castle, up in like a corner of the city, and he's like super sickly because he's so old and like so fractured, and he's developed some kind of blood disease, and he needs to have like 100 souls brought to him as a sacrifice every month. And the way they get the souls is by doing these hat sales, these hat charity drives, and then the people who wear the hat to get brainwashed into walking in. And it's like a quarterly, once every 2 or 3 years, these hat drives happen. These like hat streams, essentially mirroring, um, essentially he is like, mirroring how his streams are in real life. Like every time he needs money, he fires up a stream every one to three, every once a year, twice or 3 times a year. That's essentially what Mr. Medicare is. He's like this, like, but he's so powerful, and the people, like, he's like such like a revered figure to like the normal public as like this like benevolent benefactor who's like started the city and given so much to charity or whatever the fuck, that everyone loves him and no one fights against him, so you can't oppose him. But secretly there's a lot of evil shit he's doing in the background. Jarber delivers your food in the game. Bring the soul to the golden throw of Jim generation, the Jim Skinwalkers. We need a Swan Kelly faction. You can put in any. You need to establish like the main big players, but then you need to establish the world and the lore and most of the central characters of the setting. Smaller characters can be either added in like, like the DM would add them, or like we can do little expansions or stuff. We can do like a glossary of like extra characters who are in there. Bryan's a genius like the studio meddling. I'm the studio turning his genius product into something concise and real. Another idea I had, which I think would be really cool, is I think this should be more of like it should be a modern city, but it should be more fantastical than what he's described. I think it should be like a multi-layered, like catacombed city with like, I don't know, I think there's like San Francisco where like the cities would just like burn down, like rebuild on top. I think like, here's my pitch for like the cover is like, the main street is like here, and you got a guy walking towards him. There's a bunch of like cool like skyscrapers and like a gothic castle in the background, and then below that is like layers of like sewers and catacombs, and below that is like this like deep evil darkness in the bottom. And so what it is every layer is a different generation of the internet. Like there's like an 8chan layer and then a 4chan layer. And there's like, this generation, like the Gamergate layer, which is now buried underneath, and what happens, they just get piled up on top. So all like the people who get stuck there are just trapped lower in the sewers, and like the kiwi farmers are like the most like upper level, like below. They're like the rats who live in like the upper sewers, but then the deeper you go, the stronger the monsters get, and the darker it becomes, until at the very bottom of this deep pit of darkness lies something awful waiting. Just that's the pitch. It's like the bottom is like you were on the sector, which is like the surface level of the internet, and like at day it represents like the modern like social media internet, but at night it becomes the sector. But then as you go deeper into the lore. But as the lore as you drop down, it becomes emptier and emptier and more forgotten, and like the entire 8chan layer is like basically destroyed. Low toxic zombie counts to get you. Sector C would be better than the Shadowrun system. It all feeds the gun. Jarvis be the sleazy Weinstein / weed movie producer, but also a vampire or whatever. He should be like an X. He should be like a canceled movie producer. But yeah. Does the idea, to be honest, the idea of a post-apocalyptic wasteland fits more than GTA-style vampire gay stuff? I like the idea of it being a modern city, but maybe a cyberpunk city would work better. I don't know. I'm not married to the vampire idea, but I understand this is what Bryan's original vision was, and I don't want to deviate too much from that. I think the idea of the creatures of the sector being creatures of the night who prey on the living is cool, and I don't want to discount that, but we can't go it should not be too GTA. I think it should be more Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Vampires are kind of gay. Well, the sector's kind of gay. Anyways, one of the reasons I wanted to think about doing Call of Cthulhu as a basis for this is I had an idea for a Troon system. Where you have different level, like you receive or deplete Troon points, like depending on your actions or who you encounter, who you speak with. You have a Troon meter, kind of like a Sandy meter in Call of Cthulhu, right? And based on your interactions, and like if you start talking, let's say you start talking to Matthew Cat a lot, and you start acting positively towards Matthew Cat, that increases your Troon score, and you don't get told that by the DM. It's a silent meter, right? But you can do like checks on it, and like, you know, you can have like, oh, check my Troon meter. And there's things you can do to reduce your Troon score. But if you go too far, then you Troon out, and then you become a Troon. You are, which has a ton of side effects. You become like, you lose like a bunch of your stats, and you like have to undergo sex change and shit. And all that, but this is like, you have to play with this, but the problem is that you're being forced to go in the sector, so you're being forced to go into these Troon dens, which affect your Troon stats negatively. So you have to like kind of purge and clean yourself by doing certain things to reduce them. But it's all silent. You're not told this, because this is what it's like being on Discord. So you don't ever know when you're in a Troon den until it's too late. You will become JMK. Exactly. There you will. Where was John Michael Kelly in the Sector City? Right, and you can intentionally Troon yourself. And you can untroon. It's very difficult to untroon. This is a fetish. No, Daimo. This is genius. This is the reality of the sector. -3 endurance, you know, like you reduce like your hit points or something. It makes sense because it's so common in the sector, where like you have these like Troon segments and online. And like if you become Troon, you're like banned from a ton of the factions, but then you will be allowed entrance into other ones, you know. Don't dead name JMK. CRP is my main. Well, yeah, and there has to be a coach segment. And maybe this, it's not like just defined in the Sector City. Maybe like, you know, you can move out of Sector City or something. Maybe like the Ukraine war is actually happening or something, you know. I don't know. Maybe it takes place in Ukraine. Where was Jagged? Make Shaggy and how sick goes in the setting. Well, that's a thing, right? Like, we need to establish like when this takes place, because if we go like, we should, you know, whenever we release it, we'll use the most up-to-date current lore of the sector, but it may have to be updated occasionally to update people's standings. Troons have ability similar to Lady Killer, perk from Follow the Quest to Save Coach. Yeah, the Quest to Save Coach's soul. Maybe like you can resurrect Coach. Alright, I'm supposed to be withdrawing it from this Gahul cut if it has Trooning. Listen, cool tactic, it's a negative thing you don't want to be. It's a danger. It's like a dangerous setting, right? It's something you have to avoid at all costs. It's like a potential like hazard that you encounter, because, you know, if you're talking with Matthew Cat, there's a detriment to like, if you start playing fucking Pokemon cards or fucking whatever, if you're a guy. Did Bryan give us anything yet? No. CRP has hundreds of children. Yeah, he's like one of those vampire Overwatch who's like a ton of people owe their vampireness to CRP. Because then you get to roleplay a Troon for 4 hours. If you're halfway, just become a VTuber. Plus 50% to train resistance. Right, but overall, the thing is, in the game, it will be a net negative, right? And this is Sector City. I mean, I don't imagine Troons will be playing this. Bryan has given us so much, it's true. Corey Barnhill style roleplay for me. Listen, cool tactic. You don't see the vision. You should do editions from like 40K. I don't think you can capture at least 19 years of internet history in one go. Well, yeah, and that's why I'm thinking the sewer system, right? Where like the lowest levels will have like the least amount of knowledge, and then we go up, and that way you can add more. It's the same mechanic as Sandy. Yeah, it's just a Sandy mechanic, right? It's a rebranded Sandy mechanic. Replace the stream system with an autism system. Well, everyone has autism, so like that would, oh, everyone's autistic. Like, that's just being the vampires. You're autistic. Please no AI art, by the way, it's fatiguing to look at. I can't promise we won't use any AI art. I may need to use some for some stuff, but if there is any done, it will be done in a way that is consistent in style with the rest of the book. Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Skyrockets your true points. Will there be a Gym Walker mechanic where people try to replace the original to take all his stolen souls? That's a great idea. I love that. That's a great idea. That would be really funny. Yeah, there should definitely be like Gym Walkers. We'll call them Gym Walkers. And they'll just that's a great idea. The key we call for Troon Hunters, when you get initiated, you find out the dark secrets that they themselves are Troons. That's great. This is great fucking ideas. Coach needs a man incel faction. Right, where was the incel faction? You need fucking, like, you know, like Shrines to Elliot Roger type shit. You know, where's Clavicular? World of Darkness is shit pictures can make a Jim Walker faction. And see, this is why, like, I'm going back and forth. We want to use an established system because we don't want to fucking write an RPG for ourselves, but generic D20 system, Shadowrun, Call of Cthulhu, or Vampire. I already offer my help if you need art, but I wonder about the production time and scope. This could be a great idea, dumb, very funny, but no final product due to scope creep. That's very true. You know, it's something I don't think I'll be working on this. I'm gonna start doing some rough drafts and outlines. I agree. That's a very reasonable concern. I've done plenty of projects which sound like great ideas and I just don't finish them. But I will say this: typically, if I'm working on a project, if I commit myself, I'm going to do it. I will eventually finish it. We don't want another Wilshire Bird of Blood. No. And the reality is, a lot of the work has been done by Bryan, and it's very easy to take a lot of the stats stuff. It's more about outlines. Yeah, I need to write a rough outline and then start filling in what we need. And I'm gonna take a lot. I'll probably take a lot from Bryan's original ideas. But I'm gonna expand them. I'm gonna change some things too. Is the idea? And I did ask for Bryan's permission for this, but he hasn't given it to me. But I don't think I really necessarily need it to go forward. You could always hit the basics and do a playable level, and then maybe expand it later if there's still interest. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll establish like a very rough outline that's like a playable, like no art, just like text. We'll type it out and establish the characters and stuff, and then I'll start adding art and more flavor text. You know, we'll establish the rules system and like the basic rules and like its faction stuff within the next month or so. I can probably get that written up. Add House Masters the Purple Dragon who's into children. I have a lot of the vampire books, including the armory if you need info. Yeah, actually, cool tactic. I appreciate that. Send it over. Or, you know, message me on whatever I'm on, wherever you have me. Just let me know. I'm on Twitter, or, you know, the Discord is available, whatever. Or email me. I can give you my email if you want. He keeps talking about outlines to lure Bryan to the stream. I'm just saying. So what is Sektur City? Asked Coco. So I guess Coco, if you don't know what Sektur City is Bryan Dunn's The King of Poles Vampire the Masquerade campaign he ran with a bunch of people online, where it takes place in the sector, or it takes place in a place called Sektur City, where all the characters from the sector are there, and you interact with them as like fucking monsters and stuff, and it's a big campaign he ran. Straight up plagiarism or copyright infringement. Someone telling Bryan about the stream. Rudy says, I love the Sektur City idea. It's based. If you need someone to play, I'll play this eventually. I'll do it. Rudy, I was very disappointed you were not included in the Sektur City stuff. I mean, I was there and Daimo was there, but there was no Rudy, and I was very disappointed in that. It's very USB-ish. Bryan, if you don't want me to do this, tell me, and I'll stop. I will say that. I'm not going to go forward. I'm not going to steal Bryan's idea if he's a problem. If he has a problem with it, tell me. Tell me, and I will pull back, and I won't. It's your thing. I'm not going to fucking ruin it, take it from you. It's fucked up. But I'm now at the point where I'm asking for forgiveness and not for permission. So, unless you have a problem, if you have a problem with it, come tell me directly. Otherwise, but I'm not planning to just steal everything you do. I'm planning to use your idea as a jumping off point to make something very different. That's all I'm doing. So, I'm pretty sure the image of Bronx Beach is based on me. Maybe. We playing a bit of Sektur City tonight. Drunken Surfer, not yet. But we're making Sektur City. We're writing a new Sektur City. We're taking Bryan's great idea and we're blossoming it into a wonderful thing that we can all enjoy. Add the Vampire Hunters as Fez as secondary antagonists. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Cool. I think he made Warhammer the Vampire Hunters. the Forge Gang, but I don't think it fits. I think if Warhammer, anyone who's in the sector has to be part of the World of Darkness. The world of the Vampire Hunters cannot be like, that they can't be that. They have to be that. But yeah, we'll do rough time frame by the end of this. I would say the next month, maybe at the latest by the end of the summer, I will have Word document created with the the factions, the how it expands on World of Darkness, what the monster sheets, etc., what each character represents, what stuff like that, basic rule shit. So if you want to play the game, you could play the game, and then after that we're gonna start adding. I'll work on that for the next hopefully the next year or so. After that, I'll work on flavor text and art into making it a more finalized, nice looking product. That would be fun to show around. But I don't really need. I'm doing the DSP faction. Well, that's another thing. He was talking about how there's a season 2 that was going to be DSP, Low Tier God, and Wings of Redemption type people. And that's another thing. It's like, how far do you expand this out? Is the gamers, is the gaming subsection part of this original Sector City? Do we have to add it as an expansion, like a micro expansion? Is that too much scope for me to handle with this? He had fucking 500 NPCs, which we are not doing, by the way. I'm not going to include every character in the sector. If I have to cut things that aren't as relevant, we're going to do that. That being said, we're going to weigh what is worth putting in, but at the same time, always room to do small expansion. I think it's a fantastic idea and would be great if the sector helped its own to complete the game. Brian's Kevin Free Slave Labor, kind based 2026, a whole win, screw you. I'm pretty sure the counts are werewolves like rape kids. We weren't even werewolves. I think we were all at least monsters who, Shaggy was a were-rat. Sector C should be focused around Kiwi Farms, Kilo Casino, Ethan Ralph, and Brian to begin with. That alone contains a lot of content. I agree. I think the main focus should be on what's currently happening, current drama, people who are active, and a couple of big ones. We'll include some stuff from Gamergate, and this. I think the sewers with the expanded Elder lore going down has to be part of it, because that has to be a place where the characters can go. I think that's pretty cool. We also have to make a map. I think that's another thing. We have to make a map of Sector City. I don't know if Brian ever made a map, but we're going to make a map so we can lay out all the neighborhoods and streets, because I like making maps because I've got autism. DSP is part of the sector since it's collab with the KC and by extension his enemies. Well, I mean, the sector's pretty small. You need to go back in time and add old people that are not as active people as old vampires. Yes, I agree. I think we can't go off of if we go off what the sector is right now, it's not enough. You need to make. He made Zoom the mayor, for fuck's sake. Yeah, and he made us the lowest scum. Well, again, it was based off his own personal bias. And it wasn't even accurate. If it was an accurate depiction of what the Council of Evil was, then Snacks can be a monster role, a succubus creature. I mean, the succubuses are the e-girls. We're changing the succubuses to e-girls, and Elaine is the leader of the succubus faction, not the fucking whatever she was the leader of, the mafia or some shit. Every e-girl is a succubus, right? And there will be incubuses as well. They'll be the e-boys. So there are e-boys as well. We'll include in that as well. So, Elaine's not the leader of the fucking mafia, right? She's not. Elaine is the leader of the succubuses. That's obvious. That's not what he did. But we need to fucking focus in on shit. With comics great size ripitards and biggest problem since those is record with the sector for the biggest time. There should be were snakes too. Ethan F can be a succubus hunter instead of a vampire hunter. I don't hate that idea. Or he can be the anti-succubus. Where he overpowers succubuses and exerts his will. He reproduces with succubuses. I don't know. Lots of things we can go there. How do we the Departed fit in ex-Coach Red Pill? Yeah, do we make Coach Red Pill dead, or do we make it he's still alive? I think, you can either go the route where he's a ghost. I know we make fucking Coach Red Pill a force ghost. You can go to you can visit the cemetery and he'll offer you advice. Zidane never came back after going to get some smokes that broke Ralph and was writing on the wall for what's to come. He's a Wraith? Yeah, Wraith makes sense. Sektur City is a giantess that's being helped on the back of a plant-sized giant named Bryan Dunn. Succubuses could be a mob acting on behalf of the casino. I don't think so. I think that the casino will hire succubuses, and they have an alliance with some of the succubus faction, but it's not like like all the succubuses work together. Like there's like sub factions within the major factions, right? You have the major factions, and then you have sub factions, and those sub factions have alliances or enemies with certain people, right? But they all respect the higher succubuses. Race are fun because they can piss off the players and they can't really harm it without a lot of prep. Sektur should be a wildlife autonomous one, a high-city version of West Memphis. I think, who should Bryan himself be? Bryan made himself a Wraith, because I think he was dead in Sektur City, which we can't do that. We'll have to make Bryan a character of some kind. Maybe Bryan can be one of the leaders of the Troon Hunters. I think Bryan maybe should have his own faction, because I feel like Bryan is, in a lot of ways, the leader of, like, the, not Housemeister, but, like, Bronx Beats, and there's a lot of people that Bryan's, is the central figure of, right? Type in that character sheet on Twitter, it's not bad. We may need to look at this. Oh no, I don't have my good theme. Well, whatever. We're gonna look at this. This esoteric archivist made this. So, Sektur City and its factions. Again, this is AI art. Ethan Ralph, Scarlet, Shamu, Godwinson, Perspicacity, Vampire World, Mrs. Deadman, Blight Gang, Jade, Mr. Medicare, Ancient Vampire Lord, Rule of the Underground, Evil Methodical Rich, Council of Evil Former, Laughing Daimo, DJ Axel, Shaggy Gahul, Ogre, Reformed, Owner of the Crooked Lantern, Respected, Mr. Deadman, Fat Half Vampire, Weak Mounted, Mostly Relevant. And again, there's no Rudy here. We need Rudy. You can't have the Council of Evil Former without Rudy, or fucking Surfer. Laughing Time, Brave Ronin, Hero of Sektur, murdered by DJ Axel. Schizophrenic, Paranoid, murdered by the Daibo, Unstable. Key to Family, Wildcard, Surfer, Swan Kelly, Dark Ninja, The Farms, Josh Moon, The Farms. The Conspiracy, Bryan Dunn, Huge Conspiracy Weasel. True Seekers. And again, if I was selfish, right? If I'm selfish, it's something that I want to work on here. Yeah, he does hate you. Can I have a link to that image? Yes, I will. I'll link to the post, actually, on Twitter. And I'll put it in the chat for everyone who wants to see it. Yeah, that's the link to the image from Esoteric Archivist. Which, again, I feel like if multiple people are working on it at the same time, at least someone's going to finish it, so. Anyways, I think, what was I going to say? Because I was looking at this image. Housemeister, Mr. K, Dog Zero Brutus. Oh, Gabe Hoffman being a rat werewolf makes sense. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But I think if it's me and I'm doing this, I'm including shit like, do I even bother including shit from like my like TV channel, or because like, I mean, that's not really part of the sector, but like I'd be hard pressed to not include at least one Gorduk in this. Like there has to be, we have to include some kind of fantastical monsters. So I put in a Gorduk in this. Just gonna say, I think someone even wrote me a Gorduk fucking monster sheet up at some point. Do I include like people from my thing? Like, do I include fucking Truth Seeker, the rabbit, the fucking Bugs Bunny guy, or the waifu fags type thing, or Zach? I would include Zach as a lesser character personally, but then that is a 2 TV channel focus, and that's not really the spirit of what we're doing here. Curious to hear what your guys' thoughts on that are, because I'd be very easy for me to add that in as a small thing, but again, that's not really. Did Brian assign class to everyone? Because how the fuck do you decide who has Shadow Tentacle, who knows blood magic? You had to slot factions into vampire ones, and that doesn't really work. Yes, he had slotted every person into a vampire faction. Put Ramon in there, maybe. At Percip is a lowly minion type thing that always has a beast master that he'll never release Snake. Yeah, I mean, we can add stuff like that. Who to include is easy. Just make degrees separation with Bryan and the Demi or center of it all. Then choose how many degrees of separation from Bryan is too much. That's it. So for going by that logic, I would say Gorduk's okay, but Zach not. Because Zach is only tangentially related to me, whereas Gorduk's are a creation of me, and I'm only a degree separation from Bryan. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to go with that for now. But yeah, everything should be related to Bryan. People Bryan has interacted with. I think anything to do with Gamergate or Kiwi Farms is in. I think Gamergate has to be the center of everything. Like, Gamergate has to be like this world's fucking 9/11. Where ponies could work? Yeah, again, because then we go into a brony sub-faction, we can go through all the fucking bronies that have happened. Everyone should have a pony persona. Did Bryan make himself a ghost in Sektur City because he McNutted in his mind? Well, apparently they killed him. Apparently in the campaign they killed Bryan like instantly. Coalition featuring Gorda from Devil May Cry. The game ends when Trump tweets Gamergate. Yeah, that's. Do you include Dup? Is Dup part of this? I don't know. Dup might be going too far. Now that being said, I think you should definitely include like King Cobra. I think you have to include a couple of the old cows. You have to include Christian. You gotta include King Cobra as a holy spirit. You could do an awakening like in Shadow when the Gamergate happens. People turn to trolls and dwarves and shit. Will Bailey be there, SMG? Bailey will only be there if you want her there, SMG is the answer. Is Sargon included? Well, I think Sargon has to be included if we're including Goblinson. If we're including Goblinson, Sargon has to be there, but I don't think Sargon is in Sektur City. I think Sargon is in the UK. Still. Include everyone in the Chudbuds poster. Yeah, that's a good point. Add Brian's. If Ethan Ralph's mother can be a monster, then Brian Dunn's dad can be a monster as well. That's all I'm saying. And we're gonna keep Santa Ralph as a monster, whatever. I know it's fucked up, and Ralph and me are mutuals on Twitter now, but I think it'd be wrong to not include the Sandra Ralph monster thing. I think it'd be weird not to. Cobra should be there, and he makes wands. Yeah, I think we can make Cobra alive in the setting. I don't think we kill Cobra. I think Cobra's like an immortal, like gothic vampire who has. I think we need to give Cobra like the best life in that. He's like the most powerful character. To have a game with vampires with King Cobra sin. Also, Brian is greater than Juice, greater than King Cobra. Brian, Josh, King Cobra, yes. Gamergate with physical attack done by. So that's the thing. Everyone thinks that Gamergate was like this like big natural disaster, but the truth was that it was actually caused by Zoe Quinn and Brianna Wu. That's it's like a conspiracy like that's like covered up in Sektur City. Like everyone thinks like the vampires know, but the regular people don't know. They just thought it was some horrific natural disaster that happened. The Gamer Gates of Hell opened up and the monster spread into the world. And the Gamer Gates of Hell opened up and outwalked Jim Medeker, and he spread the curse of vampirism to the entire world. It was we'll say it was like 10 years ago. I don't know how, like, we do like every year is like 10 years in this world. TV channel, no. The wrestling show with PvP, yes. Okay, that's fair. But I think we have to include A-Chan, because if you can't include Josh without putting A-Chan in there somewhat, because I think you had to put, like, Hot Wheels and Jim from there in. Does Tonka-san make an appearance? In the original game, Tonka-san was a wraith that lived in a haunted wrestling ring, and you have to, if you wanted to go in to fight him, he would answer challenges there. I think that's a tagline for the intro, the inside of the cover. You know, let's say that every year is 10 years within the span of Sektur City. Jim shouldn't be Kane. It kind of looks like the whole universe revolves around him, especially since it's not 2015. Well, then how about this? The original vampire is actually Anita Sarkeesian. And Mr. Medicare received the gift of vampirism. He spread it to everyone. He's who, like, most of the Descendants trace their roots back to Mr. Medicare. He's, like, the one who spread the most in the early days. But the original Kane, the original originator of evil, is Anita Sarkeesian. It's Queen Anita. Kane is the OG vampire. That's what I would say. Here's the opening text. 100 years ago, the Gamer Gates of Hell opened upon the streets of Sektur City, and out walked Queen Anita. And from her curse, the world of vampirism spread throughout the world. I don't agree with that cult tactic. I think you have to make Jim one of the elder vampires. I think you have to acknowledge he was one of the first creators of the sector, and his continued. He doesn't have like little things. He like lives in his castle, and then like every 5 or 6 months comes out to feed. You know. Should we include Epstein since Gamergate was in the Epstein files? I mean, in the base rulebook, no. In the base book, we can say no. I think anything political, any political characters, any people who are involved in like the mainstream politics of the world, with the exception of Sargon, of course. What would Christian be in the setting? Bryan had Christian being a fallen mage who served an elder god, and like Sonichu was basically Cthulhu in his world, and Christian was like trying to resurrect and bring about the dimensional merge, which I think there has to be something where the dimensional merge is real and Christian's trying to bring it about. I would say Christian is some kind of cultist, is what I would say. He's like a leader of cultist. Will Vape be in it? I would put Anal Vape in there, yes, as a like low-level Nosferatu. No way, the vampire should predate Sektur City in the Gamergate catastrophe? Christian's the leader of the Troons? That's it. The Troon leader. The Troonsome. I'm not adding Little Taste of Child Brian's into. That's fucked up. But it's funny. Jim propped up in his country every sector leader of group. People forgot how much he sub for enable Ralph Q Farms Casino. And he fucking propped up fucking Nick Fuentes when he first started. The first time I heard about Nick Fuentes was from fucking Jim. Well, actually, it was probably on fucking Poll. But, like, he fucking pushed hard when IBS started. He pushed hard and defended fucking Nick Fuentes in the beginning. Right? So, I think it's hard to say that he is, like, a lot of ways, like, the origin point, and he has propped up and created a lot of the characters in the sector, whether you like it or not. But that's who he was. Who he is now and who he was are different things. So he has to be some kind of elder vampire, but one who has fallen and is into disgrace and is now leading. I think you have to have him. He is like a. Who now has like the Swedish Squad, who's only now being followed by Swedish Squad troglodytes. Like that has to be what he is now, and that can't be. Bro, where will people like Toad McKinley be? The main quest was defeating Ralph or Bryan. The main quest which you could shoot was that Ethan, Ralph, and the Kino Casino were fighting for control over Sektur City, and you got to work with either of the groups to help decide the fate of Sector City or whatever. As far as I'm aware. But I think what happened is they blew up the Kino Casino, so I think what would Ralph's venture bane be? Drinking pulled out alcoholics or the failed Jim successors? Yeah, there has to be a couple of failed, like, like Jim has to be like the elder king, and then there's a bunch of like failed princes who have like he's like discarded and now have control of their own territory. Cool Tactic has an idea. Will there be AF/cozy/groper faction zone? It's hard because I would say America First we maybe don't do, but how can you exclude cozy or groypers? I think there should be groypers, but not full blown America First. I think you should be seen like there's like the groypers should be a faction, but not like Nick Fuentes should not be. Nick Fuentes is their leader, but he's not in Sector City, right? He is off in a different area. Flamenco's a failed Medic spawn. Yeah, Flamenco, Gator. There's tons of guys who are like, who are Medic spawns who are, plagued the world. But I would start, I would do, the base game should not, I don't want to include Dupp or Epstein or, Nick Fuentes, necessarily. Or, fucking Kanye West or, all these people. That has to be, that's too big for what the scope of this game. This is the sector. It's not the main sphere. Some personalities are not playable, but still able to interact with it. Jim could be like Kane, but then he just disappears in the setting. Like Kane, when Gamergate happens, he mysteriously disappears. Say that he returns, he consumes the whole city. All the Jim slots are gone if you think about it. Fuentes is DLC. Dupp and Epstein should be in Gen 2 as the area of story. I think this is, again, scope creep. And if we never get to the Gen 2 or, the gamer section with Phil and Low Tier God and all those people, and, Wings of Redemption and Boogie, because, Keemstar should be in Sector City. But should Boogie and Wings of Redemption be in Sector City? I don't know. What about JF and Mom and JF? Of course, JF and Mom and JF are in there. Mom and JF, the quest has to be that you have to go into the woods to find Mama JF. Mama JF is still alive in Sector City. Mama JF lives currently in Sector City. Epstein paid JF $40,000. He's part of the sector. That's true. Yeah, you can't do this. Let's... Where all the ghosts are made from CGI. CRP can really live the ghost faction. That's... See, but this is important that we workshop this, because now we're establishing what we can and can't include. I know it sounds like we're just spitballing a lot of names and we're getting too crazy with our ideas, but I think we have to draw a line and say Richard Spencer is obviously in the sector. He used to be out. He didn't live in the sector for some time, but Richard Spencer's moved back to the sector. But yeah, it has to be based around Kino Casino versus Ralph, and I guess you have to include the Quartering now. I don't know, because if you include the Quartering or DSP, which are the other Kino Casino foods they have had, it gets way outside the sector, because the Quartering is he even part of the sector? I would argue no, but, because, we don't interact with the Quartering. That doesn't happen. But yeah, we start with Kino Casino versus Ethan Ralph as, the foundation of, what's going on in the city, because that's what Bryan did, and we can honor that. But that's edition 1. Anyone on the kill stream is in the sector. Well, there's been a lot of people who've been on the kill stream. Not me, though. Sektur tried to make it out of the city, but was drawn back and he lives in the outskirts. Yeah. Dick Masterson and Vito should definitely be on Ralph's team, I would say. I don't know. That's what... In the game, Bryan had Dick Masterson and Vito be, and friends of Ralph. Does it start where you gotta choose your side like Ralph Casino, or is it more on rails and more story focused and less sandbox? As far as what Bryan did in his campaign, that was just the backdrop of what was happening in the city, but you could choose to ignore that completely. We got a call now.
Call from...
El Grande SMG Mexicano.
To accept, press 1.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, what up, Google, man?
How's it going, dude?
Pretty good. Hey, I'm here to argue why the Quartering is in the sector and why you should include him in the base game of Sector City.
Okay, what's your argument?
Okay, because he was there when the Boulder stream happened, and he's always been involved with the sector. Even 10 years ago, he was always
true.
floating around Ralph and Worski and all them. So he was always sector adjacent. He was always there.
You've got a strong point. I can't disagree. You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah. No, he's always been there. Like, he's always been there enough to grift, but not enough to get into the shit. The closest he got into the shit back in the day was with the Boulder stream.
Mhm.
But little by little, the sector started absorbing him because, it's like the symbiote. You touch it, then it just consumes you.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, we have to include him. He has to be a player in the sector.
He has to be there.
Yeah.
If anything, he can be like a shisty merchant type that's always just trying to get one over on everybody. Like,
Yeah.
something like that. Because originally that's what he was. Remember, he was just always there trying to shill his shit and get an audience. He wasn't really getting into the shit. He was just there being like, oh, hey, guys, I kind of agree with you. You're being censored. I'm the quartering. How about you come watch my videos and turn off your pesky ad block, type shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Yeah. Him and Jarbo can be in the
Now,
same team.
They could either be in the same team or they can be like rival business associates, because that's technically what they also were. If you want to put it in those kinds of terms, they could be like rival merchants or something. Where they're like frenemies, like they're nice to each other, but they're secretly plotting each other's downfall to try to take their audience, which would be the customers or something,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
okay, are we also going to include the old backyard blood sports guys, like Hardcore Carlos and all of them?
I would want to include them, but as Esoterica said in the chat, it has to be centered around Bryan Dunn. But I think Bryan Dunn was in the blood sports stuff too a lot.
Bryan was on Backyard Blood Sports a lot. He kind of brought them into the fold. He started bringing them around the Kumite and all that.
I think we have to include at least some of them.
At least Joaquim.
Joaquim for sure. I would include Hardcore and Anal Vape for sure as well. Anal Vape was a co-host with Worski back in the day. If we're including...
He wasn't really a co-host, dude. Like, Worski would just let everybody on, and Vape was just always there. So, if anything, he could be like a fucking hanger-on or some sort of little, I don't know. What would be something that, like a squire type shit?
Yeah, a
not
goon.
Not actual squire,
He's a goon.
but like somebody that's just there.
He's a
like
goon.
A gopher,
Yeah, he's like a little henchman. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say you have to include some of that because it's important to sector history and sector. Like those guys were the sector back in before 2020, right? That was the shit.
Yeah, they were in it. Yeah, like Failure and all them too.
Yes, I think. Oh, as Esoteric said, there should be like a neighborhood for old school Discord troons, and I think, frankly, in the setting I was thinking there'd be like different layers of sewers, right? So Vape and those guys should be in a lower level of the sewers, right? They've been kind of buried and forgotten, so they're just kind of hanging out in the sewers together.
So would they be like in the poor neighborhood, like like in Skyrim, they have that one neighborhood with all the dark elves? Would that be where they're at?
They're the ghetto. They're the sector ghetto for sure.
Okay, so sector ghetto. Oh yeah. Okay, like the Ratway. Okay, can I be like the Ratway of the sector? Yeah. Okay. I get that.
There's multiple levels of Ratway essentially, and they're on one of the lower tiers of the Ratway, whereas like Kiwi Farm is one of the upper levels of the Ratway. Who should be the Minister of Transportation? Should be fucking Baked Alaska. All the buses should be run by Baked Alaska. That's what he should do.
No, Baked Alaska should be in charge of rationing out food because he got really hyped for dollar ravioli. So he should be like something like that.
Maybe he runs the local McDonald's. Franchise.
It's not even McDonald's. It's like in Coming to America, it's McDowell. It's just a knockoff McDonald's.
Just knockoff McDonald's. Fucking yeah.
No, it's not even a knockoff McDonald's. It's a knockoff Taco Bell. That's how low on the run it is.
No.
It's lower than Arby's.
Yeah, that would make sense. Baked Alaska has a restaurant called Baked Alaska, fucking Arby's or some shit. Yeah, he runs the Arby's. Let's just say that.
Alaskis,
that's it. Alaskis.
Alaskis. Where all your orders will be base.
Yoba.
The Yoba meal comes with $1 can of ravioli.
The Well, he's got to get the fucking the Cop McFlurry. He's got to do the fucking McDonald's song. Oh man,
Oh yeah. He's the commercial is him like we love our beef or ravioli, shit like that.
that's it. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Baked Alaskis, that goes. That kind of slaps. Yeah.
Baked
Go with
Alaskis.
that.
Baked Alaskis is the
Or,
restaurant. That's well, and we're gonna map out neighbors. We'll see where in Sector City that restaurant lies. But I'm assuming it lies in the poor side of town.
oh, it's not even a restaurant. It's just a food cart.
It's their food truck. He drives the...
not even a truck. It's just a cart.
And he's just pushing the food cart around, or he has his fucking. He has his henchman from IP2 push the food cart around while he sits in the back with his thing like, "Hey guys, we got our food over here."
Yeah, let's fucking go to 8th and to the corner of Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez Avenue, where I'm selling it.
That's a good idea. I like it.
Oh, but instead of like Cesar Chavez Avenue and Martin Luther King, it's something stupid. Like, what would be sector figures that have like passed away that they would have street corners that are the most dangerous ones?
Well, Gonzalo Lira Avenue.
Yeah, Gonzalo Avenue. Yeah. Or Lira Street and
Lira Street, Gonzalo Avenue, Coach Boulevard.
Yeah.
Wait, Wilshire Boulevard. It's on the corner of Coach Avenue and Wilshire Boulevard.
Yeah, there it is. Coach Avenue, Wilshire Boulevard. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's where all this shit goes down. Everybody just like fucking everybody commits self-sabotage and ends up getting themselves killed on that street. Like, it's not even that it's dangerous. It's just for some reason every time you're there, you do something stupid that gets yourself killed.
Yes. This is good.
Rest in peace, Coach. I loved you, buddy, but it was totally your own fault you died.
Yes. Power to the people. Power to Coach. We love Coach.
Power to Heil Coach. Yeah.
All right.
Oh god. All right, bro. I gotta get back to doing Mexican day labor shit.
Good luck.
I had some time to kill. All right, buddy. I'll take it easy.
Juice. All right. Sorry, chat. This is some good Gatorland. Oh, we got fucking Gatorland. No, this is gonna be part of the map phase. There's like we're just talking about like general like who should be in and factions and stuff. The map is a whole other fucking thing. I may even do a stream where we draw the map together. Because again, if we want to draw the map out and plop out all the neighborhoods, that sounds fun. Because you want to have the neighborhoods be separate. You got to have. Oh, someone asked, does LawTube make an appearance? Obviously Rackets, but how about people like? I would say Rackets. Everyone else, no. Sector City Theater has the Spoonie movie playing. Well, that's yes, but then do we include like any other that guy with the glasses people? I don't know. Like, do we include like Stuttering Craig gets in? Does Angry Video Game Nerd get in? I don't think so. I think anything like that has to be the future East-Leb expansion, right? We gotta establish a foundation. Where will Spoonie be? I think we could have Spoonie move in as a Nosferatu in Sector C. I think we could include Spoonie as a little Easter egg in one of the deeper trenches. He lives in one of the lower sewers of Sector City, like Necromunda, like someone was saying. Someone asked me to show my best painted model. I'm not sure which one that is. I'll show you one of my favorite ones I painted recently. If I can get to my fucking thing. My office is a mess. I haven't had a chance to clean it up. I'm wearing pajamas because I've been sick all day. Tell you this, my best painted model is not one of my Black Templars. I haven't painted a Black Templar in a long time. Let's just get some of my ogres out. I think these are probably my best painted models. Besides my orcs I think I've painted a bit better than this. It's really Shrek Maxi nowadays. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this is my, I think it's the Iron Cannon. It's the fucking Ogre Mod Tribe's cannon thing, which I put on a fucking fancy rock base. Not sure if you can see it super well. It's not a full lead belcher, but yeah, it's something cool. And this is my other thing that I've painted. This is my Ogre Tyrant, I think is the name of this character. You can see through this fucking ring light. It's terrible. But you see, I painted the tiger stripes in the thing. Yeah, it's pretty good. Coach's Ghost Army. You're right, we cannot... You're right, Jimmy, we cannot include everyone that people sector rates care about. You're going to end up with including every person of interest on the farms that has nothing to do with the sector. I agree with that. So again, we can include things it's hard to see on cam. Yeah, this camera's not good for showing minis off. I could get my phone out if you want me to. I can do that later if you want, but I'm gonna be doing a mini painting stream probably the next week or two here. We're gonna just show you that cool tactic. I've got a lot I'm working on right now, a lot of projects in the can, so we can go over that more. So we can't, just because like we can include Spoonie, because I think he's an important character for the sector's lore, right, as a fun addition, but we can't include the entire, like, that guy with the glasses pantheon. That's not happening. But can we include Paul Lotsa? I don't know. Wolf minor ancillary sector characters like lower luminous celebrities in Sector City, not actually important characters. I think people like that aren't in Sector City, but they're like known of, right? So if you bring them up, people in Sector City would know of them. Steel Toe Morning Show. God. I feel weird about that because I would listen to the Steel Toe Morning Show. It was played on my classic rock radio when I lived in fucking St. Cloud. Is Gayland like a theme park? Gayland's a real theme park in Florida you can go to. Do we include the full Dabbleverse? It's not Sector City, but doesn't have Sam B. Fraudulent. Sam B, yeah. We can include Sam B. But again, was Sam B an e-girl? I don't know. Again, if it's an e-girl, not that Federation people should be more like HOs rather than characters. They shouldn't be part of like the main factions and faction warfare happening, but they can be fun side characters, like they can run shops or something. Does it have the Thorpes? In the original game, the Thorpes were in. The Thorpes were like part of the werewolf faction. I think Ben Thorpe being a werewolf and Grace Thorpe being a succubus makes a lot of sense. Sam B says bye-bye during the intro. How tiny is Mormon Shaggy next to you? Like this. He's like this. He's like right here. Wouldn't Ben be an incubus? In the original, they were both werewolves. I could see Ben being an incubus. Like, he could be like the leader of the incubus, and Grace could be part of the succubus faction. Mormon Shaggy as leader is the Barrow such a Lilliput faction. I like Mormon Shaggy as a were-rat. I think the were-rat fit for Mormon Shaggy. I think that he should be, or he could be a werewolf. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to talk about this, you know. Shaggy's casino simp. He flops a lot. He's been a part of a lot of different factions. He was a casino hater. He was a Ralph lover. He needs to be like a mischievous were-rat who jumps between factions. Counts a double agent. Deadman should be a bar goer, not a bartender. He should be going to the bar a lot because he's an alcoholic and a loser. A Deadman needs to like lead the hobo faction. Deadman should be like the leader of like the poor single father apartment blocks. Shaggy should be Axel's gator. he's a pirate. Well, yeah, he should be. He's the leader of the port. Like, you know, if you go to the port, Shaggy's like the leader of the rats there. You know, that's what he should be. I think that's an important role for him to have there. Deadman is a Pender Bum Generation 15 vampire. Whew. But yeah, this weekend I'll type up some like rough draft stuff, you know, some outlines, what people think. Uh, but yeah, this is I want to do this. This seems fun, and whether I actually end up playing the game with you guys or someone wants to do like an actual campaign of this, there's a whole other story. But for me, it seems like a fun thing to do. Speaking of Gator, who would Gator be discarded? Capo of Ralph, slowly turning now to Medicare's mind control. Well, I think we have to include like a runes of the Chudbuds area. Like the Chudbuds has to be like an X gang that's like collapsed, right? So you have to put like, you know, like it's an X gang of like Nosferatus or like ghouls that Jim had built up, and Gator was one of the leaders of Chudbuds, and also, you know, former capo of Ralph. So he has to be a former member of both, but has to now be, I guess, a slowly. I guess he's a member of the Troons or like the anime people. We have to have a child. Oh God, there's another thing I forgot. I wanted to pull up. We have to have a Chinatown. Because there's that fucking whole Chinatown server with Grossly and Bryan and all those other people in there. They all have to be leaders of Chinatown. Bryan's the leader of Chinatown, or Grossly is, or someone. I don't know I don't remember who it was, but there has to be a Chinatown neighborhood, and there has to be a Japantown, like, you know, or like a weeb city next to Chinatown. Grossly, yeah, Grossly and Deadman and all those guys can live in Chinatown, right? They're all there, and then there's like a weeb city. There's like a fucking like weeb shopping complex near there where Gator works as a fucking shopkeeper selling anime figures. It should be really difficult and convoluted way to lose your cursed status and escape Sektur City, calling achieving Zidanhood. Anime way. Bryan's the only white guy who became a Jiangxi vampire. But yeah, we have like fucking Chinatown set up, and there's all these like, you know, plate goons. Do we put Zoom in there? Or is Bryan, is fucking Gator like the leader of the fucking anime? Because if you go back to the old days, there's Anime Mafia, right? Anime needs to be true in Jason and Sektur City. That's true. Grossly's a deformed Chinese man who wears a baby mask. Yeah, that's a good idea. We put him in there. You know, he wears a mask. All the people who are still anonymous still wear masks. We don't give them faces. Medicare should be the big bad Sektur City. To be honest, it's quite literally a cigarette smoking man who's been involved with every major Sektur fight. It writes itself. I think Medicare should be. He's like the dying, like decaying former ruler, and now there's a power grab that he's like stepping down. Yes, there was an Anime Mafia in Black Backyard Bloodsports. I remember that. I was there, Sean Theme. I was there. That's why I'm saying, do we include the Anime Mafia? Accountability. Are you going to stream Dev weekly? At this point, the scope is huge. I think the map's your first act, then populating second. Also, can someone get Bryan? What's the advantage to gaining true points? There's no advantage. I would say that it's like Sandy points in Call of Cthulhu. I would say it's mostly where gaining true points past a certain threshold is not necessary. There's no negative to like, because you will inevitably encounter. It's only a downside like a Cyberpunk. I think it's only a downside. I would argue that it's like Sandy mechanic where you are going to have to resist, and you're going to have to take some true points throughout your journey through Sektur City. It's just a reality. But, you know, once you cross a certain threshold and you trune out, then you start getting really serious negative side effects. Did you watch the Uwe Boll Citizen Vigilante movie yet? I have not. I'd like to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, esotericism. My plan currently is I will not be doing weekly dev streams of this, because I do not want to take away too much from my weekly streams that I'm already doing. However, I will do at least once a month where I will give updates on what I'm working on. And that will give me time to actually focus in and take time to finish segments of what we're doing between then. So I'm not sure, I might do one in 2 or 3 weeks, but it will not be every week because I can't commit that much time to it because I have a real life and a job and family stuff going on. Don't always have time to focus on this, but we can do, I can dedicate like a little bit of time on the weekend to doing maps and stuff, like getting like a general rough sketch out. Although I think I'd like to do the map on stream. I'm gonna do like an outline of what the thing is gonna be like this weekend and come back. I'm not sure if next week, maybe the week after. But then we'll draw the map of what set determines true resistance. I think there has to be. That's a good question. I think maybe maybe equipment gives you like +1 true resistance. I don't know if it's gonna be something that could be innate, because I think everyone needs to be a danger for everyone because it affects everyone who has the vampire autism. It needs to be something. If you're a human, a regular human, right? You won't. I'm not sure if you get affected by the troon. You're not as affected by it. But if you are a vampire, an autist vampire, all the vampires would be autistic, right? Make a rough map now. Sure, let's do it. I'll open up. Okay, here in GIMP, let's draw the map now. Why are we waiting? If you try enough, you eventually turn to Sham Troon. No fab should raise your testosterone counter up to troon points. Yeah, I think that's a good point. There should be like anti-troon potions you can take, like white monsters or some shit. But if you take like an Arizona, like one of those like weeb Arizona drinks, depending on what you drink or what you eat, it can give you buffs or debuffs. But it can't be like an innate stat. You can only modify it with equipment or items. Engaging in combat should lower your troon points. Well, I would agree with that, but unless you're engaged in combat with the troon and they like attack you and some of the troon blood mixes with yours, then you might be more susceptible to troon blood, right? It's one of those things where it's gonna be giant medic or tower in the center. Okay. This is a 1920 by 1080, which may not be the best. We may want to. Do we want to do? Nah. We'll do it for like this for now. Or some legendary sector items you can think of. Daimo's eye patch. For one. The journal, Faith Vicar's journal. What else could we do? The gunt. You could find like gunt shavings. Andy Warski's headdress from the Tonkasaw fight. Jarbo's boulder. Yeah. Okay. So I guess, do we want... I think we want this to be like on a lake, I think. Maybe like by the ocean. Let's do ocean or lake for the coast. So we're gonna put some coasts up here. Oh, come on, man. CRP's camera, a lake. Metacritic hat. I think the Metacritic hats are brainwashing things. That's how the Metacritic hat. If you put the Metacritic hat on, it like turns you into a gym walker and makes you go to his mansion. The higher your nofap sure, the higher you need to roll to continue it. Baked content spray. Yeah, that's a good one. So this is going to be the surface layer. We will obviously have to make sewer layers of the map. Ocean. I'm leaning towards ocean. I think this is like a bay. But regardless, it's next to some body of water, and this will be where the port is. And obviously, I'm not the best at drawing with a mouse, so... Yeah, I'm not the best artist, right? Obviously. We'll just make this fucking gray represent some kind of industrial port there, right? It's an island. Well, if we make an island that's... I don't know if we should make an island. I think it should be a city. I think that some items should be overpowered nutrient points to use so you have to edge the threshold. Like the cock cage. An ocean with the port. Yeah, I think this is the ocean. This is, sea. I can't draw. Let's put this. Overlay of map fantasy like Brian wanted. Yeah, I can get a... We could try that. Give me a second, I'm pulling this map up. That's not high resolution. We need a larger resolution for this. Sorry for the overlay here, folks. Make this a little bit transparent. We'll just start with like this in the downtown area for now. This might be a little bit too much, but okay. So let's drop the opacity of this down even further. And we're going to adjust this sea area. I kind of like this little sliver on the right here, which is normally for the river. We're gonna make this the ocean here, and maybe it can even be like a river that goes like an inlet that goes out to the sea. Let me pull up the chat again. What you guys are saying? Dead air coming out a legendary item. Yeah, sorry about that, dead air guys. Sorry. But yeah, I like this as the starting point. This is pretty. And again, I think this scale works pretty good. Where we don't want it... too large. Then we can zoom in. Gators broom sweeping. We might need to go for a larger resolution thing, honestly. Because this is pretty tiny. Yeah, we'll see what we end up doing. But... yeah, we have a phone call. Let's take this.
Call from.
Yo, it's Rudy. Pick off.
To accept, press 1.
Yo, Rudy, what's going on, big dog?
Yo, what's up, Ghoul? Nice to speak to you.
Nice to see you too, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has, bro. It has. I guess the Sektur always drags you back in.
Just when you
you're never
out.
gone.
They pull you back.
Yo, so I was thinking about this Troon mechanic,
Yes.
and I've been listening to a lot of the old like Spoony like Counter Monkey episodes. And he talks about a mechanic in Cyberpunk where, like, you can have, like, the more cyber augments you get, the less humanity you have. And you're trying to, like, edge the level to, like, how many cyber augments you can have to, like, you know, be more powerful and not lose your humanity. So I think you could do that with, like, the Troon. You could have Troon items or, like, anime items that are super overpowered. But then, like, you'll have to have, like, an irony level. So, like, your irony posting level will need to be, like, a certain amount. And that'll dictate how many of these, like, Troon anime items you can have. So you could get, like, Gators, Fumo, like, Toho plushies. And that'll give you, like, a buff to something. Or you know, you could get, like, Ricada's Baldo. And that'll give you something. But, like, you can't have too many of these items, or else you'll fall into the Troon pipeline and just become gay and cringe.
I think that's smart. I think also one of the things you could make a reference to is I think in Call of Cthulhu, if you use certain artifacts, it affects your sanity meter, right? Which I think I want to base it more off of that than. But I think what you could do is, like, you can use this like you know, you could use like the sacred Rudy cock cage or whatever or something, right? But if you use it, then it affects your true meter. But you can use it like once and it won't make you fully true out. But if you continue to use it, right, it has like less than or more effects on your ability to, you know, like you have a limit to how much true you can take, right? If that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
Dude. Also in the Sektur, like a lot of people are like massive junkies, like Baked Alaska, who's like in the Sektur, and like
true.
Ralph. So we could include like. You know, like a junkie meter and shit like that, where you take Xanax. Have you ever played like Disco Elysium?
Yes,
where,
I have.
Like, yeah. So drugs will give you like a bonus to like speech or like, you know, whatever for like an hour. But then like you get addicted to them and they give you downsides. So you could have like whatever your constitution meter is. That dictates how much you could do before you get addicted, and then you have like permanent downsides.
Yeah, well, I think Vampire already has some similar mechanics built into it already for drugs and stuff like that. But if there isn't, then we should definitely, it has to be a thing, because, you know, like that has to be like, like one of the things you, and obviously like, one of the ways you could like, if like you were running like an anti-Ralph, like if you wanted to defeat Ralph in like your campaign, one of the ways you could beat him would be to like cut off his supply of drugs, and then he would be like strung out.
That's true.
So then he would have like a debuff, so you could use it to debuff bosses too. Or again, also you could attempt to gain, like you can try and be a junkie and gain the buffs from the drugs as well, which gives you serious buffs.
Are we married? Sorry for interrupting. Are we married to the concept of like vampire? Because that doesn't really like fit in with the sector. I feel like Cyberpunk or like Shadowrun makes more sense, because the sector is all about like backstabbing people and like trying to get one over. But vampire is about like hiding and being like opaque. I really don't know why Brian decided to choose vampire. I'm not too familiar with vampire, to be honest, but
I'm not married to vampire as a game system. I would be open to trying something different, but in the poll I did, people did seem to want to stick with vampire. So I'm not married to it, but I do like the idea of like the characters from the sector being monsters. I think that's kind of a fun idea.
That is a fun idea.
So I'm not sure. I'm not fully married.
We really have to
Shadowrun or Cyberpunk is gay
pick
coded and it makes
this.
sense. So the question, do you keep it Bri? I'm not sure. I haven't decided fully yet on that. I may explore Shadowrun or Cyberpunk as of what I'm gonna do, but it could be like we could do like Sector City 2077, or the Kino. Well, that's the thing is, like, if you do like a Cyberpunk, you could do Kino Dogma 2077 for like Godwinson or something like that,
I think as it stands right now, a lot of the people in the chat were talking about, like if we include Baked Alaska, do we include IP2, and like if we include Ricado, do we include these guys? I think we just need to keep it simple for now and like stick with the original vision, because making a homebrew RPG as itself is like hard enough already. So we should just get this down. Like we should just get the main kind of core game down before we think about like including shit like that.
That's fair. I know the reason why I include Rackets to begin with was Brian included Rackets. Like Rackets was part of Brian's vision of the game.
Ricade is definitely important, but I was thinking, if we include Baked Alaska, do we include like Chaggot and like all those like Blades? Like that's like too far removed from what the sector is.
I think you have to include Baked Alaska if you're including Ralph. Personally, I think that
we do.
I think Baked Alaska has to be in, but I don't know if we include Chaggot. Maybe we include Chaggot.
Maybe
Chaggot's not that far removed from the sector.
He could be like a dog that's on like Baked's leash, and like he only unleashes him when he's in trouble or whatever. Like.
Also, one of the things is we want to include the main leaders of the factions. We don't have to flesh out all like the members of the sub factions in the core campaign book. That could be something like DMs want to decide for themselves. Like that's not necessarily something we need to establish in the core book, right? This is just like supposed to be like
that's true.
This needs to be like a campaign like starter and like a general rule set for dealing with like the characters of the sector. It's not a full campaign like Brian did. We just want.
Have you gone back and watched his because he did like live streams where he was like live streaming his sessions of the game. Like, have you gone back and like watched the primordial texts of Sector City?
So I've watched him describe it in a stream and talk about it with Perspec, but I didn't know he like streamed the actual like sessions themselves. I was not aware of that.
I think that's like shit that Godwinson has, and he's spoon feeding us like little droplets of it. This is all crazy that like this happened like years ago, and we're just now finding out because like.
Well, what's crazy
no one really
is that
cares about Brian anymore.
Brian did stream him talking about Sector City on fucking that stream, and that was like a year ago. So we knew it's been known about for a year. Just no one gave a shit,
Dude, I'm the biggest Brian A-log of all time, and I didn't even know about this shit, man.
Well, that's because he did it on his fucking goddamn Magic the Gathering stream, which no one watched because it's fucking Brian playing Magic the Gathering, which sucks. No offense to Brian, but the Magic the Gathering streams were
we love
boring.
Brian. We love, but he's given us this amazing opportunity to be creative about this one thing that we all love and center our lives around.
It is a
the
funny
sector,
idea.
So.
Yeah, that is true.
It's something only someone like Brian could come up with.
So, but yeah, we're not.
Anyway, that's just my input. I think we definitely need to just flesh out the main campaign, and then we can look into like expansions and like we definitely got to include Richard Spencer. That's my nomination
Richie
for like
Spence
an
has to
NPC.
be in as a character who's come back to Sector City. I don't think he wasn't. He had like moved out, but then he had to move back, right?
Well, he always had his toes. Like, he streamed. He's done like so many streams with Ralph over the years,
Yeah.
and like he's definitely like involved in it. Like you can't say that he's like he tried to make it out of Sector City and he failed and he had to come back. So
Right, exactly. I think you have to include Richard Spence. I think Big
we,
Dick,
we do.
Big Dick Richie Spence has to be part of anything with this.
Yeah, Spence. He runs a burger shop around.
Yeah. Well, but I'm drawing this map out. I think I might have fucked up and started with too small of a resolution. I maybe should have done like 4K on this or some shit.
I was thinking we could make it like Coruscant from Star Wars, where it's just like layers on top of like layers, and like you said each year in Sector City is like 10 years, so each like year is like another layer because everything changes so drastically, and then like there are people that are left behind, and those are in like the different levels. That's kind of what or like a sewer, like the top of Sector City is only like the beginning, and then you just go through sewers, and then there's like another sewer within the sewer, and you just keep going down.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Actually, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that would make the most sense.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty fun.
So have all the most recent shit, like all the super big people, and like the most recent shit is on like the surface, and then it's like, oh, we need an ancient artifact from Gamergate, and then you got to go down like 4 levels, and then there's like that's like an end game.
Well,
like,
and the
tagline
like, was like the most recent dramas on the surface level, and then like Kiwi Farms is the first level of the sewer, and then going down, and then at the very bottom of the pit, the very darkest depths of the catacombs, lies something awful. Right, that's like the very bottom where like all the hive scum originated from, which maybe is.
I'm not too familiar with SA, so I can't really comment too much on that.
Me neither, but
no, we gotta speak to like fucking people in their 40s. Hey, are you still alive? Can you regale to us the story of Lotax?
Well, but that's the thing. It's like as the Sector City goes deeper and deeper, there's like less people down there. There's like less knowledge about what happens, so you can be more nondescript or generic. Like it can be like it's more like
I mean like in order to flesh out the lore, we have to talk to someone like in real and like on stream or
no,
like
I'm not
in Discord. Like what was it like back then?
I'm not doing that.
No, we'll just make it up.
There's just nothing. Well, there just is nothing down there for us. Like we're not gonna actually include anything because a lot of the lore is lost anyways. So it just will essentially be like empty.
The lore, the ancient lore of the Goon Fleet will remain undiscovered for us, I guess. Yo, before I go, I gotta ask you something. Did you like the Backrooms? Did you see that?
I did see Backrooms. I did enjoy the Backrooms movie. It was pretty fun.
Dude, I fucking love that movie. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Sick, bro.
I went with my mom
and
my family. They actually liked it. They got it. They got the point of the movie. So it was
That's cool. I saw it with my dad because he likes that type of shit. It's really cool to show. It's like something that came from 4chan and like it's now like the biggest like fucking movie ever. It's really sick to see that all my racism and postings online have amounted to something.
Yeah, if have resulted in a commercially successful Hollywood feature film.
Hell yeah. I'm rich because of it. Alright, cool. I gotta go. It was nice to speak to you, bro.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
If you need someone to play test this game, I'm so down for it. It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome, man. It was good talking to you, dude.
Alright, this is my real life work phone number. Do not leak this. I use this for business.
I will not leak your phone number. Do not worry, Rudy.
Alright, thank you, cool. Alright, take it easy, bro.
Bye.
Bye.
I thought that was the real Gator in the chat. I just realized it was the fake Gator. I'm like, wait, is that the real Gator? But no, it's the fake Gator, so that's fine. We're good. The Gator Gamer, the fake Gator. I'm just tracing over this map. Now, it's gonna take me a while to do this. I don't know if I need to do all the streets, but I might as well do all the streets. I'm already fucking started. Got cemetery here. We need to have a couple of these. This is pretty good. Honestly, this is a pretty good city to base a map off of. I think basing off of Memphis was probably smart. Gator with a hard Y. Yeah. Again, I mean, I could also just take the map of Memphis and edit it, but I'm gonna start with my own. I like to have a blank space to work from, so we got someone on the call.
Call from.
Dunny.
To accept, press 1.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Gahul? It's good to talk to you, brother.
Good to talk to you too, man. How's it going?
Good. I just wanted to pop in real quick because it's funny you're making this, and I don't know if IP2 you could really even say is like belonging in this world, but I've really always associated the like IP2 RV freaks with the movie Near Dark. You know, just like this roaming band of like freaks, and I think that they could be some sort of like transient element. And then I know that there's like the Gangrel clan, which are like the nomads, and they're like freaks. You know, they're like gross drifters.
That's a good point. Yeah, they could like transit, like they could come in and out of the city, and they could like, you know, be like, no, they like fucking gypsies or whatever, right? That like come in and out, and then they but they don't like stick around.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I've just had that in my head for a long time since I saw that movie, and I was like, I gotta tell him. So I'm gonna get off, but I hope you have a great night, man.
No, thank you. I like it. Good. I appreciate your help. You have a good one.
Yeah, take care.
You too. Holy shit. I like this big park in the center. You want like a big like fucking wooded park in the center of this area so you can do like fucking maps. Like you could do shit like this. What am I doing? This is just a waste of time. I should just be editing this map. I wonder if I could. I honestly, this might be a good use for AI to like get the line art from this map. I will keep doing this. This makes it. It'll be easier to edit it later if I have a good base to work from. You know, it's my thought. The park is the woods Mama JF is living in. Exactly. See, now we're cooking with gasoline. There probably is a faster and better way to do this, but I don't know it because I'm not fucking that good with it. If someone knows a better and faster way to do this, it doesn't make me look a fool for doing all this fucking drawing all these lines individually, let me know. I mean, I'm fine just doing this for a while. I can fucking work on this over the weekend. I'm sure I'll get it done. I don't need to know if I still need to do all the roads either. I'm just doing like once to like the big roads. Just name areas. Well, for now, we'll leave it like this, and we're gonna do some highlighting. We'll go like this. So the green area we're going to do is downtown, and it's going to be... Well, we'll do red actually first for Kino Casino. I think that makes the most sense. And they're going to control... That's too big of a brush. We're going to say they're going to control... These, like, red rows, we're just going to say are, like, the dividing areas of neighborhoods. Right? So, like, this neighborhood would be, like, a casino-controlled area. I think that the casino itself should be on the river somewhere. However, I think this should be the pier with Shaggy controls. So I think maybe the casino... controls a lot of the waterfront. Like here, maybe this can be like the downtown waterfront area. They control these areas seem like the most highly populated, right? So we're gonna say that this is like the dense urban area, which is mostly casino territory. The river, not the ocean. Yes, the river, not the ocean in our little fake map, but maybe I could just fucking... I'm just gonna do this, and then we'll draw some black little squiggles. Maybe not that small, maybe not with a fucking pencil. Tool. Again, GIMP for fucking retards like myself. This is all ocean. I only like this texture, so we're gonna redo this. This is gonna be like a close to final map, just as a heads up. We're not fucking around. There we go. Ralph Swamp has to be prominent. Is cool Insider Study? Yes, I will be. Chinatown is a no man's land. Yeah, where is Chinatown? We'll make... I know color to color Chinatown. I know exactly which color to make Chinatown. You're never gonna believe this. Man, I gotta make this a little bigger. It's... I want to pretend that this area is a lot more urban than it actually is, but this area here is Chinatown. We're gonna call this is Chinatown right here. This block, it's like a little corner section east of the park and south of this road here. That's Chinatown. Right. This area up here can be, you know, more casino territory, I think. They should control the most lucrative, like, monetary aspects of town. We're gonna make purple the Mr. Medicare castle and, like, Ghoul Hub. We can maybe put it... Should be more in the back of town, but not in the countryside. I'm thinking maybe... Where would the Neat Samurai faction be located? Key Farm should be a library, also a little hydroponic farm. It's gonna be bad, my nigga. What's gonna be bad, man? You saying this is shit? The Medicare Castle and Hospital. Maybe he just lives in the hospital. Maybe he just runs the hospital in town, or like one of the main hospitals. I want to say I'm kind of inclined to put it here. It's the racial dot map. So that's... And anything we don't color in will be neutral territory, but we'll just say, like... Up to here is casino territory. because they should have a huge chunk of territory. It should be the main territory holder should be Ralph and Kino Casino, right? And this area here can be where the E-Girl faction is. This like area, this can be where the brothels and like the horror district of town is. This area, this kind of long, penis-shaped area is where all the E-Girls live. Cover building needs a cemetery name in his honor. I think this Elmwood Cemetery will be Coach Cemetery. And I'll try and rename a lot of the streets if possible. I'll rename all of the main like red streets to be like Wilshire Boulevard or Gonzalo Lira. Make that park into Ethan Ralph Swamp. Yeah, this could be Ralph Swamp. And then no, I kind of want to go this Chickasaw Country Club will be Ralph's Swamp. Because I want Ralph to control more of the eastern non-part of town. So this will be Ralph's Swamp, and we'll give Ralph green. Because Chinatown, while not directly connected to Ralph, is not exactly not Ralph adjacent. So we can make this area. And we want to give him a lot of the countryside. We want a lot of this countryside to be Ralph and Males. It needs to be like urbanites versus country boys for Ralph versus Kiwi Farms. Kino Casino, I should say. So we want like this whole eastern side of the map is Ralph and Male territory. Like, you do not mess with Ralph and Male territory out here. You know? Warski Jr. Memorial Hospital. And the Junior! And so this country club will be Ralph's, the Ethan Ralph swamp, or fucking, you know, the Ralph Retorts, Ralph Palace. And so this whole area will be Ethan Ralph territory, which is less densely populated, but he has more square footage, right? I think that's going to be the idea. You think you're getting lost in the sauce with the map? You think so? Well, that's what we kind of flesh out a lot of stuff. Isn't Ralph West Memphis, though? He was Ralph West Memphis, but he's been pushed out by the Sektur. That's why he's desperate to reclaim West Memphis, because he's West Memphis born. Now, it's almost all we need, but I need to include one more faction, and then we'll be done for the night with this. And that is the Troons. The Troon faction are centered around the south, and they're centered between these two cemeteries, because that's where most of them are. So this little square, we'll just say, is deep Troon territory. If you're in here, we'll just say all this is Troon territory. This is like the nasty part, where if you're in Troon territory, it's not good, right? We'll just say this entire part underneath this underpass. Everywhere underneath this highway and divided by... I think we're going a little bit too far west here, actually. I think maybe that's too much territory for the Troons to have. We'll leave this area for other factions I want to introduce. Because we haven't even put like the council in, or Brian's faction. Although I guess he's Chinatown, but like that's the Troon foothold in the town. It's encroaching, it's getting bigger. Ralph, and then we'll just give the Kino Casino more here quick. We'll just give him, you know, like we'll give him all the way up to where this the E-Girl territory is. And they kind of touch each other, and this is all them as well. Yeah, I think that looks good for now. Now here's draw the Shaggy Pier. I did. It's right here. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I did draw the Shaggy Pier. It's this right here. This right here is Shaggy's Pier. We'll make it a little bit bigger. This is the main port of town. So it kind of comes out, and there's a little bit smaller. I kind of like the ports that have, so this is my thing, I kind of like ports that kind of stick out a bit. For like shipping and like docking locations, so we'll just say that it goes out like that. It kind of curves. It's the bent dick of it. Where's Axel Shed? Maybe that's for another night. That might be too much for tonight, if honestly. That might be a little bit too much overload with getting into the map shenanigans, but let me know what you think about this. I might just use this. This looks pretty good for a map. And we'll start renaming things. We'll start putting like titles on stuff. I'll start redoing stuff more. I love docking. I do love docking. You're right. I think this covers a good part of the city. And we'll say this area that we've described here is vampire territory. Outside of this area is non-sector territory of this city. And you're not really doing sector shenanigans out there. This Overton Park is going to be neutral. I think this like central park area is neutral. So, like, this area, like, no one claims territory to that because it's run by, you know, something. And then, same thing with the fairground. Maybe we'll make Coach's Cemetery and, I got an idea. We're going to remove this from Troon territory. The Troons are trying to encroach on this, but Coach is stopping them because this is Coach's Cemetery, and they can't take it. So this is no longer Elmwood Cemetery. It's now Gonzalo Lira Cemetery, and his ghost prevents the Troons from encroaching any further into the city, but they're on the edge. They're trying to surround him and take it over. So it's the Coach's eternal war with the Troons there. Bryce, that was a map. Do factions have talk and neutral ground? Maybe go sideways sometimes? Yes, I think so. I think you'll often see faction. This area especially between like this open area, like between like this area, like right here in the center, is kind of a bloodbath. Right, where you'll see all the factions fight each other. But in Overton Park lies a lot of fucking dangerous monsters at night, so you can't go in there. But this area, like this fucking university area, is where a lot of shit goes down. I don't know, what's a good university we could say takes... The CRP magic is too strong, and like, there's a lot of shit that happens at the fairgrounds too. I think that makes sense to have that like happening. But again, and also I would say that almost all of these like open spaces are actually populated with houses, so anything that looks like it's open that isn't like more densely urban is still full of people, because this is a future city where there's lots of people. So yeah, that's what I got. Needs Gatorland. Gatorland is make this Gatorland. We'll make this is Gatorland right here. Maybe a different color, green. That's Gatorland, right? That's looking too dark. It won't stand out in the map. Make it like turquoise. This is Gatorland. That little dot right there. Wow, it's tiny. Yeah. Gators have a lot of power. Anyways, we'll flesh this out so it's more correct eventually. But like, we can maybe like, make this like Thorpe territory, right? But like Chinatown is this area for sure. I think that's a really cool idea. Gatorland on Ralph's side, but Gator's absent. But yeah, this area definitely has to be the Jim territory. I think maybe even this is like Jim's castle, all up through here. Like, this is like Jim's land. Jim just owns all this land. This guy's fucking castle up here. Is what I would say. Well, again, start of a good map. We'll get everything drawn and then finalize, and we'll make it more professional looking at some point. But I like it's probably just easier to use Memphis as a base because this is where we're going to base it off of anyways, right? Forks of nomads, they don't have territory. Maybe. That's a good point. Cogs in the middle. This is the fucking... Where's the ghetto? This is the Brown Ghetto. This is where Godwinson... This is like the council flats are... This area here between these streets. This is the council flats. Ah. So these are where Godwinson and Cog and all like the British, like Elaine, was here before she moved to the Eagle sector. These were all of the British people who, and like Grossly used to be here before he moved as well. This is where you find all the Council of State people, like Cog's, people like that. Little Britain, we'll call this Little Britain here. But yeah, but obviously if you if you go into Troon City, like there's an aura of like Troon poison where if you walk into this Troon zone, you get like Trooned. Like this, you just ingrained in the shape of an L. It's in the shape of an L on his forehead. But yeah. It's L for London. L for London, in it. So it's going to affect my OCD if I don't fill in all these squares neatly. And we may need I don't know, these are the major factions of the sector, right? So at some point I'll draw this up using like actual probably pen and paper, or I might just use this and turn it into like a proper looking map. This is a good rough outline for the city, and this will help people establish geographically where everything is. And then we'll mark locations of interest, like Baked Alaska's restaurant. Right, has to be here, or the former Council of Evil headquarters here. This is where Shaggy's boat is, the Shaggy Pier, etc. Okay. I think I'm done with the... There should be drunken server random accounts who delivers burgers to peasants in Sector City. Juice in the farms don't get a faction. So... we can make it an above ground location where the kiwi farms are. I think that's makes some sense. Is this different enough color? No, it's not. We're making Ralph's territory blue, I think, instead, because we kind of want to give the kiwi farms the green, I think. So the Ralph male gets the blue. Just for necessity's sake, because I'm running out of clothes. We want to kind of make kiwi farms green. I think that makes more sense. So the kiwi farm should also be connected to... Maybe the kiwi farms can just run the south side, right? Like they can this area. Nah, that's too much area because they're mostly based on the Undercity. But I kind of like this big square here. Maybe give them like a little bit of territory here. This is the Kiwi Farms above ground territory, but they're mostly in the sewers, right? They're mostly underground in the sewers, right? So, and they're very close to the Troons, as you'll see. They're not very far apart from the Troons. There's a lot of crossover. Here's just a crappy pizza place. It maybe just be a singular building. Maybe. That might be a better solution, honestly. Maybe just that square. Because we kind of want them close to the Troons. It's a sketchy pizza place with a basement they claim doesn't exist, but actually entrance to sewers. So their territory is the delivery radius of the pizza place, and the pizza place is like right here on this block. So their delivery radius goes like that's the delivery radius of the pizza place, and that's like the Kiwi Farms territory. Like that's where you can. That's where you can expect if you stir shit, you're gonna be defending the Kiwi Farms. So that's their little spot of land. So there you go. The Daimyo should come back. I think you're right. He should come back. It's his time. But I don't think he will be coming back for a variety of reasons. Bryan's hunting ground. Bryan is primarily, I think, was in Chinatown, but now, like, Bryan, the entire city is Bryan's for the taking, right? Bryan is, like, a random, like expert level encounter. If we encounter him in the wild, he'll fuck you up, you know? Well, yeah, there's the map so far without this cool actual map underneath, you know. Bryan's a wraith. Bryan is the DM self-insert to it, is who the Bryan is. Literally. Okay, well, guys, there we go. I think I'm gonna be done with the map for now. I'm probably gonna wrap up because it's getting pretty late for me. But it's been a fun stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Any last minute questions or something before I sign off for the night? I know it's been fun. I hate to cut it short, but I do have to go get ready for bed soon, so I will be cutting it off here in the next 10 minutes. But anything anyone wants to say before I cut it up for the night and get ready to head to bed? Any calls anyone wants to call in, you know, sorry, I think Risk called me on Discord, but I have it on mute. Shout out ZXV. Shout out to ZXV. Otherwise, we'll do a good night song and then we'll call it. Do I think I will lose interest and drop the project? I'm hoping no. I mean, I can't make any promises. The last year of my life has been very chaotic, to say the least. I think the only thing that would prevent me from finishing this project right now is not lack of interest. It would be real life barriers that prevent me from having the time to spend on it that I need to. Also, maybe by the time I'm done, people might not be interested in it, which would suck. But yeah, that would be the only thing that would stop me from doing this, is real stuff outside of my control, like real life issues with stuff that would fuck me over. But otherwise, I'm pretty committed to getting this done. It shouldn't be impossible. All right. I mean, fuck, Brian did it. Why can't I? Shit. It'll be Brian's cease and desist. All right, everyone. Time for the good night song, and then we'll be heading off. 帰り際車の中でそっと交わす口づけ秘密だよ不思議だねただ一言も打ち明けず思いよ二人とも肩も揺せず指も触れない唇だけの君は素敵だね微笑み残し去っていたおやすみおやすみ Everyone, thank you. Good night. I love you all. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much for watching my stream. Thank you.